The drought in Burkina Faso had entered its third year, a relentless scourge that had turned the land into a parched wasteland. Villagers, desperate for survival, abandoned their homes, streaming toward urban centers or massing at the borders, hoping for refuge. In Ouagadougou, the capital, water protests had escalated into a full-blown political crisis, threatening to topple the government of President Ibrahim Traoré. The air was thick with tension, and whispers of foreign interference grew louder. French and American intelligence agencies, sensing opportunity in the chaos, were quietly orchestrating an operation codenamed Water Coup to overthrow Traoré. Yet, unbeknownst to them, Traoré was nurturing a clandestine project, a bold, transformative vision called Blue Belt, developed with a team of engineers trained in China. This was no mere survival tactic, it was a gambit to reshape the future of Burkina Faso and, potentially, the entire region. In Ouagadougou's main square, thousands of citizens gathered, their empty water containers clanging in a rhythmic chant, "We want water." For 3 years, rainfall had been scarce, a cruel absence that left lakes dry and rivers reduced to feeble trickles. From the presidential palace, Traoré stood at a window, his face a mask of stoic resolve, though his mind churned with the weight of the crisis. Beside him, Defense Minister Ouedraogo delivered a grim report. "Mr. President, the situation worsens daily. 5 cities in the northern regions are deserted. People are flooding the capital or crowding the Mali border." Traoré's eyes narrowed. "And Mali?" he asked. Ouedraogo sighed. "They're better off, thanks to the Niger River, but they've sealed their borders. No refugees are being accepted." Traoré nodded, his gaze drifting to the crowd below. "The French?" he pressed. Ouedraogo's voice tightened. "Aqua Global has raised water prices again. A liter of clean water now costs more than a liter of gasoline, and they're demanding foreign currency." Traoré's jaw clenched, his voice low but seething. "They're not selling water. They're buying our sovereignty." With every drop, they tightened their grip. The door opened, and Communication Minister Ouedraogo entered, his face drawn. "Mr. President, the international press is besieging us, CNN, BBC, France 24. They're broadcasting stories of government failure and an imminent humanitarian disaster." Intelligence Chief Sankara followed, adding, "The opposition is amplifying this through foreign channels." Former Foreign Minister Traoré held a press conference in France, calling for international support to overthrow you. Traoré turned to a map on his desk, its once vibrant blue rivers and lakes now shaded in desolate brown. "They expect us to let our people die of thirst, then borrow billions to buy their water," he said, his voice steady but laced with fury. "Sudan, Egypt, Libya. Now us. This isn't chance. It's a strategy." At that moment, his assistant interrupted. "Mr. President, Dr. Zeta is here. He insists on meeting you urgently. He mentioned Blue Belt." The room fell silent, the name sparking a ripple of surprise. Blue Belt was Traoré's most closely guarded secret, known only to a trusted few. "Let him in," Traoré ordered. Dr. Adama Zeta, a determined engineer in his 30s, entered with a leather bag, his eyes alight with purpose. "Mr. President, 2 years ago, you thought this project was impossible. Today, I bring you the first test results." He opened his tablet, revealing a 3D model of the subsurface beneath the Sahara. "Here, at a depth of 400 meters, lies an ancient water basin from the last ice age. Our geological estimates suggest it holds 500 billion cubic meters of water." Traoré leaned forward, his skepticism warring with hope. "If this is true," he said, "this could supply Burkina Faso for a century." Zeta nodded. "Not just Burkina Faso, Mr. President. All of West Africa." That night, in a signal-proof chamber deep beneath the palace, Traoré convened his inner circle, Dr. Zeta, Sankara, Ouedraogo, and Economy Minister Dio. Maps and reports from Zeta were spread across the table, illuminated by the soft glow of a projector. Zeta pointed to a geological cross-section. Extracting this reservoir is feasible. I worked on a similar project in China, though their basin was shallower. The technology is proven. Dio, ever the pragmatist, asked, "What's the cost?" Zeta replied, $2 billion for the first phase. 5 to 6 billion for the full project. Dio shook his head. Our budget can't handle that. The IMF and World Bank are already strangling us with debt. Wedrao suggested, the Chinese. Sankara countered, they'd face backlash from France in this trade war climate. They won't risk it. Traoré studied the map, the vast basin stretching beneath Burkina Faso's northern deserts and into Mali. We can't do this alone, he said. Not just financially, but politically. The West will sabotage it. Zeta, puzzled, asked, why? This is water, people's survival. Traoré's smile was bitter. If Africa controls its water, the West loses its greatest leverage. Water is the new oil. Scarcity is their weapon. Sankara's voice was grim. The people are furious, Mr. President. French agents are stoking unrest. A coup is inevitable. Traoré's eyes hardened. We start Blue Belt. But not alone. We form an alliance, Niger, Chad, Mali, Senegal. They all face water scarcity and Western control. The room absorbed the audacity of his proposal. This was no mere engineering feat, it was a regional revolution. We proceed in stages, Traoré continued. Technical collaboration, financial planning, then a summit of leaders. Meanwhile, we offer short-term relief to give our people hope. The meeting stretched into the night, laying the foundation for Blue Belt. In Paris, at the French Foreign Ministry, Africa Desk Chief Philippe Dubois reviewed intelligence from Burkina Faso. His assistant handed him a tablet. A long meeting occurred beneath the palace last night. A signal blocker prevented us from intercepting details, but we know who attended. Dubois scanned the list, pausing at Dr. Zeta's name. Geologist and water engineer, the assistant noted. Studied in Shanghai, worked on China's Gobi Desert water projects. Dubois's expression darkened. The Nubian aquifer. Is Traoré targeting that basin? The assistant nodded. It extends into Burkina Faso. Dubois grabbed his phone. Get me the foreign minister. Now. Within an hour, a high-level meeting convened. Around the table sat the foreign minister, the DGSSE director, Aqua Global's CEO Pierre Renaud, and an Africa Affairs advisor. Dubois laid out the stakes. If Traoré taps this basin, our influence in West Africa collapses. Aqua Global's water sales will plummet, and our uranium deals in Mali and Niger are at risk. The DGSSE director urged, we must accelerate the water coup. We plan to unite the opposition first, but we can't wait. The foreign minister hesitated. Direct intervention will draw global backlash. China and Russia will call it neocolonialism. Dubois leaned forward. We won't intervene directly. We'll back Caboret, fuel a popular uprising, and deepen the water crisis. Renaud added, Aqua Global can cut water supplies, citing technical issues. Dubois nodded. And the Blue Belt is a strategic threat. If Traoré succeeds, other African nations will follow. We target Zeta, buy him or neutralize him. The meeting ended with a plan to destabilize Burkina Faso. 2 weeks later, at a secret military base 300 kilometers from Ouagadougou, Traoré and Zeta briefed engineers and geologists from 5 countries. A massive map of the Sahara's water basin dominated the room. This basin crosses our borders, Traoré said. So must our solution. A Malian engineer raised concerns about funding. Traoré responded, West Africa spends $10 billion annually on water imports, enriching Western companies. Blue Belt could pay for itself in 5 years. The group outlined a phased approach, country-specific research, joint technical teams, and financing from BRICS or the African Development Bank. Traoré closed the meeting with a rallying cry: "Today, we take a historic step to change Africa's destiny. Water is life, and we're reclaiming it." Sankara burst in, his face taut. "Mr. President, protests have erupted in the capital. There's violence, and Dr. Zeta's home was attacked." Zeta paled. "My family?" "Safe," Sankara assured him. "Our guards intervened, but the house was burned." Traoré recognized the tactic, classic destabilization. "End the meeting," he ordered. "Zeta, you'll relocate to our secure base at the Mali border. You're too valuable." As they flew back to Ouagadougou, flames lit the horizon below, government buildings ablaze, crowds clashing in the streets. In the palace's command center, Ouedraogo reported, 2 brigade commanders have defected. Northern troops are advancing on the city, but the western garrison remains loyal. Traoré's presidential guard affirmed their allegiance. Studying the tactical map, he made a daring choice. "I'll address the nation. Prepare a live broadcast." Sankara protested, "You'll expose your location." Traoré was resolute. "The people need the truth." An hour later, Traoré appeared on national television, clad in full military uniform. "My dear citizens, foreign powers are orchestrating a coup to seize our most precious resource, water. We've discovered a vast water basin beneath the Sahara, enough to free West Africa from scarcity. This is why we're under attack." He displayed the map, detailing Blue Belt's promise and accusing Aqua Global and its backers. "Foreign agents have infiltrated our army, but most of our soldiers are patriots. I call on them, do not fire on your people. Stand for Burkina Faso's future." As Traoré spoke, General Bamoro's troops closed in on the palace. Yet his words ignited a firestorm on social media, with #BlueBelt trending globally. Citizens rallied, chanting, "Our water is ours." Some soldiers lowered their weapons, refusing illegal orders. By dawn, the coup collapsed. Bamoro and his ally Colonel Dop were arrested, their forces surrendering or scattering. 3 months later, a historic ceremony marked the start of Blue Belt's first drilling in northern Burkina Faso. Leaders and engineers from Mali, Niger, Chad, and Senegal joined Traoré on a platform adorned with their nation's flags. Today, Traoré declared, "We open a new chapter in Africa's independence. Water is life, and we control our own." Mali's president echoed him, "For too long, our resources, oil, gold, diamonds, and now water, have been plundered. Blue Belt is our manifesto of freedom." Zeta outlined the plan, drilling to 400 meters, followed by pumps and pipelines, with completion in 5 years. Traoré activated the first drill to thunderous applause. After the ceremony, Traoré and Zeta surveyed the site. "Will we succeed?" Traoré asked. Zeta smiled. "Technically, it's possible. The people support us, and the region is united. But the West will retaliate." Traoré nodded. "Africa's fight for independence has never been easy. But now, we have knowledge, technology, and unity." 6 months later, the first drill struck the basin at 412 meters. The water, 10,000 years old, was potable without treatment, its mineral balance ideal. Initial pumps delivered small volumes, enough to supply nearby settlements. International media hailed Blue Belt as Africa's water revolution. The African Development Bank pledged $3 billion, and BRICS added $1 billion. Some European nations offered cautious support, but France and Aqua Global waged a covert war, delaying equipment and stoking unrest in Mali. In Ouagadougou, water scarcity eased as pipelines reached the capital. Traoré and Zeta visited a new distribution center, where people filled containers without queues. "This is why we fight," Traoré said, seeing relief on their faces. 2 years on, Blue Belt reshaped West Africa. The Sahara Water Alliance, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Chad, and Senegal, expanded into economic, security, and technological cooperation. At a global water conference, Traoré declared, "Water must cease to be a weapon." Blue Belt proves it's humanity's common heritage. In a video summit, Traoré outlined Phase 2, scaling to 10 million cubic meters daily, enough for the region's needs. Mali's president asked about Phase 3. Irrigation, Traoré replied. "We'll transform desert edges into farmland, tripling food production." Niger's leader voiced concerns about Western interference, citing a recent coup attempt in Nigeria. Traoré agreed, if Nigeria joins, the region's power shifts. They'll try to stop it. By the 5th year, Blue Belt operated at full capacity, supplying all 5 nations. Water scarcity was nearly eradicated. At the main pumping station, Traoré and Zeta marveled at the transformation. Giant pumps, powered 80% by solar energy, delivered millions of cubic meters daily. Nanotechnology filters cut energy use by 30%. A small city had sprung up around the station, home to engineers and workers. Traoré gazed at the screens in the control room, monitoring every pump and pipeline. 5 years ago, this was desert, he said. Now, it's Africa's greatest engineering marvel.